Hey, Sister Catherine. Hey, Lo, how are you? Thanks for joining. I was just inviting a few people. Anybody I know that's in on my page, you can invite them. Share the video. Playing a little Israel. We'll give it a few more minutes so we can get a couple of more people on. Hi, Christine. Thanks for joining. Yes. I tried to play it, Catherine, but I'm not sure if, I guess everybody wasn't able to hear it, but I think it was coming through because she was referring to it. Yeah, on the call, exactly. Hey, Jill. Thanks for joining. Take the limits off. Peace, Sister Sanji. Yes, thank you for joining. Yes. Oh, my sister, Wonder Woman sister, Sierra, thank you for joining. Blessings. So welcome to Sunday Soup. I'm Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven. Thank you for joining me this Sunday evening. I'm just so full. Just full. Had an amazing weekend. I hope everyone else had an amazing weekend. Welcome, Tracy. Thank you for joining Sunday Soup. So I was playing, let me back up some. I'm so full. I'm just excited to share with you beautiful souls that have joined me this evening. I will. Yes, Catherine, I will send the info. I'll post the info. That song is by Israel, a New Breed, Israel Horton. Absolute phenomenal worship. I don't even want to say gospel. I want to say worship artist. He's an amazing worship artist. And that song is called No Limits. It's on his Alive in South Africa CD, or I don't know what we call it these days. So you can, download it on iTunes if you have some of the free services, but it's Israel and a New Breed. Thank you for joining. Oh, hi, Dana. Thank you for joining. Welcome. So I played that song because just the words, for those of you who just joined, it's Israel and a New Breed. It's No Limits. So you can always go back and, download it and listen to it on YouTube. Actually, I just pulled it from YouTube, so you can just go to YouTube and listen to it for free. But the words is all about enlarge. My title tonight is Enlarge Your Territory. But the words in that song, the lyrics, is all about taking the limits off and enlarging your territory, basically allowing God to use you to expand your territory, meaning expand the blessings in your life, expand the abundance in your life. But in order for that to happen, there's certain things that we have to do, not you, but we have to do as spirit beings that we are in these fleshly, earthly bodies. So that's what I really want to talk about. But really the message came out of, and this is how God works, is universal messages today, all day, really all weekend. It came out of, I signed up and spent the weekend because those of you that do know me, some of you don't know me that well, that's on here. Usually the month of December, that's my birthday month. My birthday is December 29th. I celebrate all month. Every single day I do something special for me. And this weekend I had signed up to do a program. It's called Mama Jenna's School of the Womanly Arts Experience. And it's basically an introductory program. It's like a class, but this, you never really know what you're going to expect. And when I went to the program, it was at the Javits Center in Manhattan. I had no idea what I was walking into. I just heard it was really phenomenal and it was wonderful. Greetings, Donna. Thank you for joining. And I was supposed to go last year. This is what's crazy. I was supposed to go last year and wasn't able to go for one reason or another. She has it twice a year. It's just it's an event for women. And this is women of all different ethnic backgrounds, women from age 18 all the way up into their 70s. And when I say it was phenomenal, it was phenomenal. I walked in, it was at the Javits Center in one of their lower level rooms. And when I say it was 2,500 women in this one room. Women from all over the globe. Just phenomenal, phenomenal event. And you know, just when I'm driving in my car, I'm commuting, especially if I have a long commute coming from Long Island to the city, I'm always praying and, you know, God, how can you use me today? How can I be your willing vessel? Who can I bless? What do you want my messages to be, whether it's for these Facebook Lives or even just talking to another person? And Enlarge Your Territory just kept coming up to me. So I said, okay, I know that's going to be my Sunday Soup message. But it also came out of just some of the just amazing messages and that I received over the weekend. It was like confirmation after confirmation, just a lot of the connections that I made, some of the phenomenal women that I met, all different types of women, just beautiful. And it was just, I was just so, like I said, I'm full because it was 2 jam-packed days. You go in early in the morning at like around 10, we start about 10, and run all the way through to the evening. So I just really just got back home maybe a couple of hours ago. So, and then I'm, you know, part of the Sacred Women's Circle, and we had one of our conference calls, and there was a sister on there, and she just got on there and was like preaching her face off. And I don't know, I don't think that's what she meant to do. We all kind of chime in and, you know, share a message or information, or we ask questions on the call. And she just, you know, one of my sacred sisters on this live right now, if she's still on it, but she was just phenomenal. She just started really just preaching and sharing, and she started talking about Enlarge Your Territory. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, there it is again. It's coming up. And she said, yeah, it's this song. And she started saying the lyrics. And I'm like, hey, and I jumped in. I'm like, that's Israel and the New Breed. That's one of my favorite songs. I've been listening to that song for years. And I said, when I was in one of my deepest valleys, that was one of the songs I listened to every single day. I'd like put it on, you know, rotation, like in my car and you know, when I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I was like, oh my goodness. Now I said, here I am. I feel like I'm on the mountain right now because, you know, God is just opening up so many doors and he's enlarging my territory. And here's that song again. And I'm like, wow. So I said who it was, and, you know, I played a little bit for the sisters that was on the call, and she just was giving such a powerful, yes, thank you, Sister Catherine. Yes, very powerful call. And I said, well, here's confirmation. So I knew that was supposed to be the message for tonight. So, you know, I'm going to get into it because, and I want to hear from, please, this is, I want Sunday Soup to be a dialogue. I want to hear from you guys. Just chime in because, like I said, I'm full. So I may just go and please, you know, chime in if you have some ideas and thoughts about this. But this topic is so important because we're in December. We are in day 3 of December. So, you know, it's going by quickly. You know, before you know it, it'll be like day 27 or day 25. Once Christmas hits, it's like, that's it. It's done. So, you know, 2017, you know, was a year, what I want to say, of preparation. Because 2018, there's just something about that year. There's going to be so many amazing things that's going to happen in all of our lives. That's the declaration I'm making. So, but in order for that to happen, again, there's preparation. So this was, to me, was a year of preparation, kind of setting things in order. Again, if there's anything that needs to be settled, any situation, any environment, any people, anything that is not in line with your purpose, your calling, what God is, what path He has you on. If it's anything fighting against that, even if it's a war within yourself, if you're fighting against yourself, you need to get that straightened out and lined up right now. That's the message. Because enlarging your territory is really about increase. 2018 is all about increase. Because the abundance is there. You know, the opportunities are there. But are you ready for it? And that's really what it's about. And yes. Thank you, Sister Ama. Right. Thank you for joining. I hope I'm saying it right. Ama or Ama. Okay. From your mouth to God says yes. And so we have to be ready for that increase. And that's really what this is about. That's what the message, that's what He dropped in my spirit. It was confirmed at the women's event that I was at this weekend over and over again. Then it was confirmed when I was on this call tonight. So I said, okay, here it is. So in order for that increase to happen and for that expansion, if you think about the word expansion, it's stretching, it's growing, it's pulling, okay? And sometimes pulling and stretching don't feel so good. If you think about it, when we got to exercise, we got to stretch our body, you know, that don't always feel good, right? That's why sometimes they say, get you a personal trainer when you need to work out and lose some pounds and get your body in shape. It don't always feel good. Sometimes it hurts, right? So we have to know that it doesn't mean that everything is going to be rosy and peachy. Sometimes that stretching and pulling and expansion, it hurts a little bit. But we know the reward is on the other side. So He's preparing us. He's preparing us. It's time to lay that groundwork. Whatever, and then if you're laying groundwork and you're trying to prepare for something new and better and greater, what does that mean? And I did a live about a couple of weeks ago on capacity. We have a certain capacity, right? And it's not saying that we're supposed to dream or think small. No. You know, God is a big God. He has, you know, He can think bigger and greater than us, and He can always expand us and increase more and allow more for us. But however, when I talk about capacity, you don't want to have junk and new stuff in the same place, right? That's like anything else. You want to have things, you want to make room for all that new, wonderful abundance and joyful things that He's going to bring in your life. So that means you got to move out those old, stale things that are really not adding any value to your life. And that's really what it's about. Sometimes we hold on to things, right? I bet you in all of our homes, we probably got a closet or what they call a junk drawer. I know I got them. You know, that's one of the things I'm committed to, you know, cleaning out my clutter and all of that stuff. But you have that little closet or some stuff get thrown in and it get tucked away. But the reality is if things are not of any use, it has no value anymore, why are you holding on to it? And a lot of times it's psychological. We hold on to things because it's comfortable, right? We keep it close to us because it maybe have some sentimental value or whatever the case may be. But again, if we're talking about expansion, if we're talking about increase, divine increase in our life, if we're talking about making room for the new, we have to move out the old. And that could apply to a lot of things. And remember what I said, when we talk about stretching, when we're talking about, you know, trying to stretch those muscles, that also means our spiritual muscles. It's not always going to be pretty and it's not always going to feel good. But we're going for the long term, okay? The long term, the results at the end of all of this stretching and this expansion. So it's not about right now the immediate gratification of, is this going to feel good? Is this going to feel comfortable? No, it's not. Usually anything that we really want and that's good for us, it don't always feel good. It don't always look good. It don't always taste good. Because, right, think about most of the foods that they're like, oh, you shouldn't eat that. You know, that's good, comfort, nice tasting foods. Why? Because there's a bunch of junk in it usually, right? But the stuff that's really good for us, or we want to lose some pounds, or we want to be healthier, or we got some high blood pressure, we got these things going on. The doctor said you got to have a bland diet, you got to have a lot of salt and all of that. Don't always taste good, but it's good for us. So we have to keep in mind that, you know, God knows what's best for us, right? He wants the best for us. And we should be surrounding ourselves with people that want the best for us, and that's going to invest in us. They're going to see the value and see the worth in whatever it is that we want to do, what dreams that we have, and what God has put us on this earth to do, right? So there's really 5 areas that I want to talk about. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Colin. Thank you for joining, Kim. So there's really 5 areas. I'm talking about enlarging your territory. God wants to enlarge your territory. Are you ready for that expansion? Are you ready for what God has for you in 2018? Because this is preparation time, and we're going into the home stretch right now. It's December 3rd. We only got a couple of more weeks. Yes, Sister Karma, peace. Thank you for joining. We only got a few more weeks, so it's time. We have to get things in order, and that's really what this is about. So are you ready? So 5 things I want to touch on to help get us ready, so he can expand our territory. Okay. First thing is about surrendering, and I couple it with surrender and embrace. Now, when people hear the word surrender, it can mean a whole lot of things, but I'm just going to keep it real simple. Surrendering is letting go, okay? And I touched on that a little bit when I first talking about that. When you, let's go from the spiritual standpoint as well. When you talk about surrendering, it's letting go, because a lot of times we're holding on to something that no longer is benefiting us. Anytime we're holding on to something that's no longer benefiting us, guess what? It's weighing us down. It's getting in the way. So at that point, we need to say, okay, here, God, here, divine creator, I'm letting this go, and I'm letting you do what you need to do. Like I said in my prayer meditation, because I pray without ceasing. I'm praying in the car. I'm praying when I'm at my day job, my investor. I'm praying, all the time. So usually that prayer is like, use me as your willing vessel. That vessel, that's surrendering. You're letting it go, whatever it is, okay? And because that, a lot of times, that is the cause of our stress. That's the cause of us having ailments, because we're worrying, we're holding on to things. It's not meant for us. Again, that's getting in the way of the things that we should be doing, because we're spending time on things that are no longer benefiting us, okay? So surrendering. And then I couple it with embrace. Once you surrender and you're letting go of what's no longer serving you, you're getting that out the way, then you can embrace what? You can embrace the positive. You can embrace what God's direction for your life is. You can hear more clearly because you're more open. You're more in tune with the Spirit, right? And you can embrace the new, okay? And that's part of the expansion. So surrender and embrace. Number 2, and this is an area that I'm going to be transparent. This has always been my area, and I have no problem talking about it because hopefully it will bless someone else. That is being disciplined and consistent. To me, those two go together. Blessings, Dalby. Oh, yes, one of my brethren from my old church. Blessings. Thank you for joining. So, discipline and consistency. Anything that you really want, you have to be disciplined about it. That means you have to be focused. You have to be intentional. You have to stay on your path. And then it connects back to you're embracing the new. You've surrendered and you released and let it go to God, and you put it in his hands. But however, we know faith without works is dead. So at the end of the day, you still have to discipline yourself. You can't just wait on him. You still got to do certain things. You still have to say, okay, I have this goal and I'm going to take steps towards it. You still have to write out that plan for your life. Okay? So that's what a discipline. And then the consistency. See, I'll admit it. I am the start-stop queen. That was my path. I'll start something, I'll stop it. I'll start something and stop it. But I realized, what did I say? It wasn't serving me. I wasn't accomplishing all my goals. I'll have my goals laid out every year, come around, have the, I guess what people would call New Year's resolution. I really didn't like calling it that, but I would lay out, have my vision board, or I have my little vision book and have my things laid out. And I'll get it'll be 6 or 7 of them, and maybe I'll get 2 done. Why? Because I start and I stop. Well, that's where discipline comes in. And a lot of times when you're in that kind of start-stop type of pattern is because either your goal is not clear enough, okay? You may have your dreams and have the same dream for years, but your goal is not clear enough, or you really have not surrendered the things. Oh, welcome, LaShardette. All my sacred sisters are here. Thank you. Blessings for joining. You really haven't gotten clear on what that goal is and then disciplined enough or focused or intentional enough to stay on path with it. And that's the reality. Because I like I said, I have no problem, saying this has been my struggle, okay? But I knew if God is truly going to use me the way I really want to be used, and I want to be a blessing to others and do the work that I'm doing right now, I knew I had to let go of some things and I had to get disciplined. Doesn't mean I'm perfect? Absolutely not. I still have my struggles, but that's where prayer comes in. That's where meditation comes in. That's where, like all these beautiful sisters that's on here tonight, you have the right circles, the right people connected to you, those divine connections that help keep you strong. Okay? Accountability partners. I know, a lot of the life coaches that I'm connected with, they have these accountability groups. Okay? I have mine, Awaken on Purpose, for you leaders out there and healers and professionals. So what do you do when you get tired, lose focus? Because I get tired. Yes, Asa Maria. Okay, so when you get tired, because we all do, because we're human. Thank you for that question. See, that's when you're doing things again in your own strength. And this is why, actually, Asa Marie, she did an interview with me last week, I believe it was, and she asked me, I guess the question had something to do with incorporating, as me being a mental health professional, and then incorporating spirituality and holistic healing interventions. How, right? Yes, it was that. Okay. How did that work, and how was I able to do that in my place of work? And I told her, I said, well, I just did it because I don't see them as being mutually or exclusive from one another. To me, they all connect to each other. That's how I've always been an unorthodox mental health clinician or therapist, if you want to say that. I've always incorporated prayer. I've always incorporated meditation. Even working with the kids. I used to run spirituality groups with the kids. I'm like, I used to have them reading scriptures. Look, at the end of the day, I did what works. Okay? I meet my clients where they are. I stay connected to the divine. I ask him, what shall I do? How can you use me in this situation? What are the tools that I should use? So at the end of the day, it really boils down to having that divine connection and really not operating in your strength. When you operate in your strength, you're going to get tired. You're going to get physically tired. You're going to get mentally tired. You're going to get worn out. So that's where the more time you spend in prayer, the more time you spend in meditation, the more time you spend declaring and decreeing and affirming, that's where your power and strength is going to come from. Okay? And yes, it does involve also eating the right foods and putting the right, supplements, vitamins. I know I take B complex. I take magnesium, which is really good for your nervous system. So there's a lot of other factors. In fact, one of my sisters, I think she had to jump off. Karma, she's doing a fabulous detox that a few of us have been involved with. When did we do that? I think it was a couple of months ago. But she's doing it again. Oh, you're here. Okay. Karma. So make sure you post the link of your detox in this. You can post it in this live in the comments. Because that detox, her detox is phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's a 21-day detox. And it helps, keeps you strong. Asa Marie, if you're still on here, you should join that detox because it will help you exactly what you're talking about. what happens when you get tired. You can be on purpose. You can be intentional. You have your goals and you're writing them down and you're, checking them off and have your checklist and everything. But we get physically tired sometimes, yes, and you get mentally tired. We're doing a lot, especially as women. But I think a lot of it, like I said, is first of all what you're putting in your body, if you're exercising, if you're moving, but also there's the psychological aspect of things, how we get tired as well, because we're taking on a lot. And again, we're trying to do it in our own power and strength. So, some of that is just making sure you're spiritually strong and built up as well. Okay? Okay, good. So the next one, so the first one was surrender and embrace. Second was discipline and consistency. The third one is stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. A lot of times we get in our own way. Even at the women's event I was at today, that was a big thing that kept coming up. How these are women, all types of women. They're standing up. They're saying what some of their challenges are. What blew my mind is when the leader, Mama Jenna, she got up and she asked a question about trauma and about abuse and sexual abuse. And, I'm sitting there. I'm a clinician. I'm a therapist. And I'm sitting there like, oh, God, she's going to open up this can of worms. You got 2,500 women in here, all different backgrounds from all over the globe. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, whoo, I don't see how this is going to go. She asked that question, and I want to say, if not 90% of that room, 85% of that room stood up. And that blew my mind. And that said to me is that we got a lot of work to do. The healers, the therapists, the life coaches, the nurses, everybody that's in the health profession, we have a lot of work to do out there. When all those women stood up and said that they had some sort of either sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse in their life, and then it came up, most of it was at the hands of a family member. I was like, whoa. So what she said, to come back to the excuses, she said, she had us go through an exercise after that, and everybody was, coming together and working together and everything. But one of the things she kept saying, she was like, look, at the end of the day, we all have a story. We all have this narrative, especially if we've had some kind of trauma in our life and everything. But you have an opportunity to rewrite your story. And a lot of that has to do with, yes, you go to therapy, you do different holistic methods, you're going to have your spiritual aspect of things to help you heal, and you do your healing. But also, we do a lot of what a lot of the women kept standing up saying, there is a lot of self-sabotage. They'll have their different initiatives and things that they want to do and what they want to be. They have their bucket list and all this, and then they'll start doing it, and then they'll do something that will kind of default it. And I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness. So I kept hearing it, self-sabotage. We sabotage our own plans sometimes. By what? Making excuses. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much, Kim. And if somebody can actually put the points down in, because of Kim Daniels, she was actually listing the points for me. And I'll repeat what the points were. But we're on number 3 now, which is stop making excuses. So a lot of times the self-sabotage comes in because we make excuses. We pretty much, tell ourselves we can't do something. We say to ourselves, okay, this is not going to work. We start playing that negative tape over and over in our head. Okay? And a lot of it, yes, a lot of it is bad programming from our childhood and some of the things that have happened to us, or maybe people that were speaking negatively over our lives, or even in our present lives that may be speaking negatively over our lives. But this is where, again, it's going to keep going back to the source. If y'all going to notice a theme, keeps going back to the source, prayer, affirmation, declarations. Because there's so many negative messages either from our past or even in our present, we have to have like almost 100 times more positive messages we're telling ourselves, and we have cheerleaders around us, people that are affirming us. So Thank you, sis. Yes, Karma. I know you have to go. Thank you, sis, for joining. And we have to continue to build ourselves up. Build ourselves up. Not making excuses. Okay? Because we can... I don't talk myself out of I don't know how many things. There's things I'll get up... I don't really feel like doing this today. But you know what? When you have a goal and you have a dream and you have your calling, you can't really say, I don't feel... You can say it, but you do it anyway. You know, whether it's something that you're challenged in or you feel you're not competent in doing it, do it anyway. Do it anyway. It's okay. Even if you fall flat on your face, guess what? You can get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. Because guess what? You've done that before. And that's another thing. We have to remind ourselves of all of the victories, all of the triumphs. Yes, we may have fallen down and had some challenges, but we always got back up. That's the message we have to remind ourselves, even though there may be the message like, oh my goodness, this didn't work out, or whatever the case may be. But think about all the times it did work out. Or think about the times that you were able to pull yourself up out of that miry pit, out of that valley, climb back up, dust yourself off, shine yourself back up, and keep it going. Or when you showed up when all hell was breaking loose and you looked fabulous from head to toe, because you said, you know what? I'm more than a conqueror. I got this. You know, I'm a queen. I'm strong. You sometimes you have to really beyond encourage yourself. You have to push yourself. Okay? Because it's not always going to be perfect. Exactly, Donna. Using those positive affirmations. And I know, we hear this. There's life coaches out there. There's therapists like me. There's just, your friends, and we affirm ourselves, and there's a lot of these cliches. But guess what? A lot of this stuff works, and it is necessary. It is necessary because we have to combat all of the negative messages with the positives. That's how it works, and it has to be consistently. Exactly. Commitment. Exactly, Donna. So, sometimes, it is about just showing up. And it's okay if it's not perfection, because again, perfection sometimes is an excuse. When I was doing some sharing with some of the sisters at this event today, perfection came up, and I said, look, I know about perfectionism. I said I used perfectionism as an excuse for many years, for many situations, and all it was another form of self-sabotage. Oh, if it's not going to be right, I can't do it. Or what if it don't come out right? And I even think about that with my books, with my writing I've been doing. Oh, my goodness, if what if nobody likes it? What if this happens? All of those questions came through my mind because that's what we do. We're human. We're our own worst critics. Really, that's the issue. Those are all excuses, because that would have been an excuse for me right there to not even write the book. And it would have still just been sitting, down collecting dust as a manuscript. Okay, but we have to get out of our own way. And a lot of that has to do with making excuses. The next one, number 4, is renewing of your mind. Because, and I attach that with a comfort zone. A lot of times we are, yes, sister, thank you. Yes, thanks for joining. A lot of times we get into a comfort zone because of the mindset that we basically have developed over, our lifespan of being on this earth. Okay, and a lot of that comes from the experiences that we have had, so we need to renew our mind, because we get, even our negative experience, even the mindset that we have, even if we know it's been limited and it's limiting our life, we still get comfortable with it. It may not even be good for us anymore, but we're still comfortable with it because we've been in that space for so long that we stay there, right? It's a form of complacency, right? So, but at the same time, comfort and courage can't exist together. Okay? At the end of the day, comfort zone and being in the courage zone don't work. Like, if you're going to be courageous and step out on faith, that's not the comfort zone. So you got to come out of the comfort zone in order to get into the courage zone. And that's really what it's about. And that has to do with the renewal of the mind. That has to do with, again, stop playing that negative tape in your mind. And it keeps coming back to that. Because again, this right here, controls everything. This determines how far we're going to go in life. If this is not renewed, then then we're basically doing the same exact things, because this right here controls the actions and our behavior. So if we're thinking the same thoughts, we're staying in the same complacent place, same comfort zone. Oh, this is how I've been doing it. This is comfortable for me. I don't want to do this because I'm afraid. Those are those negative messages. Those are those excuses. Okay? And then that's basically on repeat, and we end up spinning in a circle and we're stuck. So if you want to be unstuck, you have to come out of the comfort zone into the courage zone. Exactly, Donna. So that was number 4, renewing our mind to come out of the comfort zone. And the last one is really about our mistakes, learning from past mistakes. A lot of times, we don't want to look back because maybe there was things that were very hurtful in our past, and we all have it. You know, things that were very damaging, maybe things that were very volatile in our past, traumatizing, like I've spoken about before. And so we want to just tuck it away, leave it alone. But you have to be able to look at the past so you can learn from the past. Maybe it was just some bad choices and decisions that we've made. So you have to look at it. You have to look at it. And it may be ugly and not pretty or whatever, but how are you going to learn? There's always a blessing in the lesson. Always. There is always a blessing in the lesson. And sometimes it's hard to see, but at the end of the day, you need to look at it. You need to examine it. Because you're going to learn a lot from whatever was behind you so that you can go forward. You can be in the present, making your plans for a brighter future. So learn from those past mistakes. No matter how ugly it was, learn from it. Look at it. Examine yourself. A lot of times we don't want to look in that mirror because we're afraid of what that reflection is really going to show us if we peel that mask off and really look underneath at some of the choices we've made, the decisions we've made, things that we have done. And we may have blamed somebody else for it. Maybe things that didn't work out in our lives and we're steady blaming because it's easier to look outward than it is to look at ourselves. But the reality, once you really start looking and digging, which is why a lot of people don't want to do it, it comes and it points back to you. But that's a good thing. This is a time of revelations. I mean, listen, y'all, if you look at the news, you look at everything that's going on in this world, things are being exposed. It's that time. So, and again, when we talk about enlarging our territory and increase and the abundance that God wants to bless us with, we have to get out of our own way. We have to bring things to light so it can be healed. Because you don't want to carry that junk into the next year. So, enlarging your territory is really about, yes, it's about growth, it's about expansion. But we all know you can't grow, one, if you're not real with yourself and you're not willing to surrender and let go of things that does not longer serve you. 2, if you're not disciplined and have a plan and being consistent with it and being intentional. 3, if you're constantly making excuses, you're constantly in that place of a comfort zone and don't want to, get out of it, because again, we said perfectionism is self-sabotage. Playing those negative messages and saying what you can't do is self-sabotage. You want to move out of your own way. Stop making excuses. Stop with the complacencies. Be real with yourself. Be authentic with yourself. That you want the best. You want the best version of you. In order to have the best version of you, you have to get rid of all of that old stinking thinking, all of those old negative messages. Just all of those things that are not beneficial for your life. That's not producing any good fruit in your life. And you know what those things are. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody has a different area that they need to work on and clean up within their lives. Only you know what that is. And this is really the time, because it's the end of the year. You don't want to drag that old stuff into 2018. And then the 4th thing was about renewing your mind. Again, having that mind that's playing negative messages and that's very negative and, you know, thinking the same old way, having the same old systems and the same old behaviors and the old habits, that's not going to get you where you want to go. That's not going to get you with an expanded territory, growth, possibilities, abundance. When you say dominant emotional IQ, re-examine the past, correct the decisions. Exactly. That's right. So it's just like anything else. We're consumers, right? And you want to make an informed decision about something you're going to purchase or something you're going to get or a service that you're going to have. You need to know. You do your research, right? We do that. We do the due diligence. We go on, you know, Google, and we go and read reviews, and we do all of this research for something we're going to get or a service or something. Why we don't do that with ourselves? It's the same thing. You are the best research for yourself. You research yourself. You go back and say, let me look at this. Let me look at the past reviews of what happened in the past. Let me just see about myself, and let me see how I can do certain things differently so I can achieve the goal of what I want. To me, it's no different. It's just that it's you. And to me, that's the most important thing. You have to think you're important enough and that you're valuable enough that you want to make these changes in your life. That you don't want your this year to look the same, or you don't want your next year, 2018, to look like this year or the year before. Unless your year has been totally fabulous, no problems, then yeah, you want it to be even better. But if your year has been, year after year, there's been these issues, or you haven't been achieving your goal, or you stuck in the same spot year after year after year, then you know you have to do something different. If you want different, you have to do different. If you want to do different, you have to think different, right? And a lot of that has to do with also the words that you're speaking. You know, speak positive words over yourself. Declare positive things. They call it declaring and decreeing. You know, trust and believe God is going to bless you, bless your life, but do your part as well. So, in the last one, I said, you know, again, learning from the past. So expanding your territory is really about, preparing for increase in your life. The preparation, doing the work, and making sure that you have those checks and balances. It's about the right environment. Make sure you're in the right environment. Where are you planted right now? What are you doing right now that is preparing you for next year? And that's something to really think about. If you're not seeing the fruit of your labor, of things, seeds that you have sown, then what's the block? What's stopping that? What's keeping things in the same place? And a lot of times when you look back and you say, look back a year from now. Look at last December to now and say, okay, what happened? What was I doing? What was I thinking? What habits did I have in my life? You know, what was my day-to-day behaviors? What were my day-to-day thoughts? Because your thoughts, again, that creates your life. If you look at your life right now, that all came from the thoughts. So, again, it goes back to what needs to change first and foremost. Foremost is your thoughts. You need to change your thoughts. Check your thoughts and then change your thoughts. Okay? So this was really about enlarging your territory. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful souls out there, you know, I want us all to have an expanded territory in 2018, sincerely. You know, I'm Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven. My passion, my mission, you know, my goals is all about being a blessing to you. It's all about being a blessing to others. It's all about, you know, creating a better world, a better community, better families, you know, where everybody is prospering. Everybody is prospering in good health, in good wealth. And that really comes from, you know, us starting with each one of us working on being the best that we can be, that God has created us to be. So I thank you for joining me for this. And I'll say us because we are, you know, all connected. We are a reflection of each other. for Sunday Soup. And I hope to see you again next Sunday or any of my lives, which I may pop on here this week. Because, like I said, I'm so full from this weekend, this wonderful event that I was at this weekend. I'm so full, so I may have some other messages for y'all this week. But, yes, please, write those goals down and, you know, pray over them. But let's work on having an enlarged territory. So I thank you and have a blessed and wonderful evening. God bless.